All right, so we are super excited that you all are here, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop in the chat the slide deck so that you have it, and you can see it at whatever size you like. Okay, which is always my thing. I like to be able to have a little more control over that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into presentation mode. Can you all see this okay?
Yeah. Let's see.
Better this way?
Yes.
That's better. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so it looks like people are rolling in, but we're going to go ahead and go back to the beginning here and get started. My name is Keelan Koning. I'm Communications Coordinator for 3CSN, and as you may have read already in our email, I'm a faculty member at Cal State Northridge. I teach English, and I am the proud faculty professor of Jared and Iris, who are here with us. They were my students in the fall of last year. So without further ado, Iris, Diana, and Jared, can you please introduce yourselves?
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Diana Bonilla-Hine. I am counseling faculty at Los Angeles Mission College and also a 3CSN coordinator. And I see lots of familiar faces, so I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. Thank you for being with us. And I'm going to hand it over to our wonderful student facilitators to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Iris. I'm here to help out give a student perspective. I'm so glad to be joining you all today and learning with you. I'm an engineering major at CSUN, and as stated, I was also one of Keelan's students.
Hello, I'm Jared Balduzzi. I'm Professor Koning's former student. I am actually a film major, and think of me as a student perspective. So feel free to ask any questions to me or Iris that you have. And we're so happy that you could be here.
Thank you so much. And they are quite modest because they are not just offering this student perspective, but they actually taught me so much about ePortfolios. It was a really transformative experience. And so I was just chatting with Iris earlier today and remembering the history that Diana and I had, where we were trying to think of a design lab that would be really meaningful right now in this powerful moment that we're in. Diana and I were talking about it, and it's like, oh, ePortfolios seemed to be the thing that kind of pulled everything together. And so it was a very exciting moment for us as we thought about what we could bring. And then we weren't sure exactly what to expect. And a couple of our participants, Trang and Carrie, are here today. They were part of our design lab in the summer, so they'll be able to tell you also a little bit. We should probably put them in a consult, okay? But they are a good example of how that community keeps building and how powerful this can be. And so just moving into our, oh, I hate this sensitive mouse. Okay, I may have to click us in. Okay, so our agenda, we're gonna do this part. We're gonna work on finding our why. We're going to look at our home base, which Jared and I are very proud of. We built a Google site for all of you. We thought about it, and we were having a conversation. It's like, well, why don't we make that thing that we've been talking about? So we did it ourselves. Building knowledge together, as we always do with 3CSN. And then a Think Trio share, where you'll be sharing with each other. And then we will be looking at some ePortfolio options. So one of the things that we want to say is that ePortfolios, there are a lot of options. You may not, at this time, it may feel a little overwhelming. And one of the things that Iris and Jared can tell you that I said is, I'm just letting them lead. That's my favorite phrase, let the students lead. But we're here to kind of look at these things together and see what these tools, how we might be able to use some of these tools to design a course around an ePortfolio. And I'm excited to share that I actually this semester started at the beginning of the semester, and I've been having a lot of success with that. So hopefully we'll be able to hear from some of my current students as well. And then we're going to have some design lab time where, as Jared and Iris both said, you'll be able to talk with them as well as with Diana or I from our different perspectives. Diana is using it in a different way than I am. And so we love the fact that as partners, we're able to share different ways to use ePortfolios. And of course, there are so many more ways. It's like going down a rabbit hole. I don't know if you've ever looked up ePortfolios, like started looking, but you could look at that for years. And then we're going to wrap up and do some next steps. Okay. 3CSN, that is our beautiful organization. It is the California Community Colleges Success Network, and we've been around for over 12 years. And this is our mission statement here, so you can take a look at it. But we are all about community, network, and supporting student success. And so you'll see our student success lives here. We are through, we're the professional learning arm of the California Chancellor's Office for community colleges. And we are just thrilled again to be working with folks across the state. Oh, thank you, Carrie. I'm glad you like my background. We're doing a What is Art project right now at class. All right, so what brings us together today? These are our wayfinding online, which we started on March 18th. Shortly after we got the information that we would be online. And so 3CSN responded very quickly to the needs of the community colleges across the state. And so these are the things that kind of brought us together. But one of the things that we always like to highlight is that it's about engaging in productive struggle in community with each other. And so that idea, one of the participants from the summer said, you know, it's about like high expectation with high support, right? The idea of, you know, challenging. And so that productive struggle in community with each other. And we will be having something called community hours, which is something that is one of my core tools or values that we use as well. So you'll have more time with us if you want or need that. All right, and the ePortfolio, it's been identified by Association of American Colleges and Universities in 2018 as the 11th high impact practice influencing post-secondary student success. And it's a way to motivate change in the academy across. And you can take a look at that in Kathleen Blake Yancey. This thing is covering it up right now. Okay, so she is at the forefront of this. I love reading all of her stuff. Okay, so our design lab objectives, to consider the possibilities, you can take a look at this. I know you already saw this and I'm pushing us a little past the time. So one of the things is about assessment for sure. And one of our participants in the summer had mentioned, I happened to come across him in a rubric session, and he was talking about how he really was, you know, he did not like using Proctorio and things like that. And I was like, hey, you know, come to the ePortfolio session. And now he's using that with his students in his STEM classes in order to really not have to do that kind of, you know, kind of like rethinking assessments for STEM. So it's really powerful tool for many different areas. Our series overview, you see this already, so you have this also in your slides. Hopefully somebody has put this in the chat for you in case you came in late. And Jared is giving me the timer. He's like, you're over the time. And that is very true. Okay, so we are on to community agreements. We have them in the shared Google Doc. I'm going to click on this really quickly. And so please feel free to share anything extra that you might want to add. These are ways for us to engage and thinking about, you know, and many of you are quite familiar with community agreements, but we really believe that this is an important piece of making sure that our design lab is an equitable and brave space for folks to come together and learn. All right, and without further ado, oh, don't do that. Okay. All right. Finding our why. I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to get a drink of water.
Thanks, Keelan. So finding our why, we would like to invite you at this point to type in the chat box one word that brings you to this series. This word is going to be your grounding word. And then as you type this in, Iris is going to create a word cloud for us so that we can see our beautiful artwork. So again, yeah, type in one word or a hyphenated couple words in there for us to create our word cloud as we continue to build community together. I see some wonderful words already: career development, student-centered, discovery, student learning. Wonderful. Passion, growth. Excellent. These are wonderful words. Equity, yes, definitely equity. Learning new skills, absolutely. We're always learning new skills, and especially in our profession. Wonderful.
I put in two.
Keelan, no, that's great. High impact, yes. Wonderful. Good. Well, I think that was all of us putting in our words. And so we're going to turn it over to Jared, who's going to prepare us for our workspace.
Hello. Let me just navigate this toolbar really fast so I can show you guys our amazing website that we've created for you guys. So if you're not familiar with our amazing portfolio / informative website that we've created for you, we will share the link very soon with you guys. If it wasn't already shared, but I believe it was. So we're going to take this time to kind of go over the space that we've provided, information for you to not only find work that would help you in creating your own ePortfolio, but a place to navigate kind of options and new learning paths as well. So right now we are on the home page. Now what's amazing is if you want to navigate through the other sessions that we are currently working on, you can either go up here or you can just simply scroll down to session 1. Through session 1, we've provided many resources for helping you create your website, such as providing links that gives you essentially free user images and etc. to kind of showcase like your workspace. So think of this website as not only a helpful tool, but as a kind of an example of what you can create using one of the platforms that we've that we kind of showcase during this design lab. So right now we'll briefly go over where to find the homework. So if you go onto session 1 and you scroll down to homework, you will find homework for session 2. Spoiler alert, this is what you're going to want to look for before starting the next session. So we create a step-by-step guide to help you navigate through the homework. It's fairly easy, and remember, if you can't do all that, all the the lists or assignments, there's no shame in that. We're just trying to kind of provide you work and experience through these readings that would help you better prepare for the next session. And also we provided on the homepage as well, you can find access to examples of ePortfolios, what doesn't work and what does work in our opinions through the student's perspective. You can also find our community hours, which we host every Wednesday, 3 to 4. So if you're not quite getting something, join our community hours and we'll totally help you out as much as we can. It's a very engaging place for building community and for learning, essentially. Also, you can find our shared Google Doc, which, spoiler alert again, we will be using this throughout all 4 sessions. So if you don't know where the link is, just come to the website and you will find it here. So remember that there's so much information stored on this website, and you can kind of get, well, not lost, but you can get so astounded by all the glorious information we presented for you that this is something that you definitely want to utilize and you can always come back to in the future, even when these sessions are over. So please take advantage of this. Not only did we spend a lot of time, but it is probably one of the most helpful things you will probably get out of a design lab. So thank you.
All right, so now we are ready to move on to our next part, which is building knowledge and discussion. So we know that in an ideal world, we would all be able to do all the reading ahead of time. We also know that the world is not ideal, and therefore we're going to give you 10 minutes. So Jared and Iris, did you want to take away this part?
Yes. So what we will be doing is we will be reviewing the pre-readings. And if you already haven't selected, please select at least a golden line or strong line that stood out from the reading that we've presented, and kind of explain the reasoning as to why you chose it. And for those who already have completed this, feel free to comment on someone else's post and explain why you think that this is also an interesting section that they've highlighted. And I will now pass this to Iris, who will explain how to comment if you already don't know how to.
Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah, let me unshare. And I'm pasting the document in the chat right now, so for your convenience. It's also in the slide.
All right, so you would access the document through the chat. Keelan just posted it. And to comment, you would just highlight any portion that you want to comment on. And the comment button should pop up right here on the side. Right here. You would press that and then comment. And post your comment. That easy, that simple, and they'll be able to see it and comment back if like they want to.
Okay, and we would recommend that you click don't click on the Google Doc for the documents, click on the slide. So let me share that because it looks like there might be an issue with the links for that. And Carrie, also, if you're interested in reading the Yancey article, then you can click also here in the chat. But we got fancy and linked things inside of the slides as well. Iris, could you explain one more time how to do the commenting? Could you show them one more time?
Yeah, of course. Right here, you just take your cursor and you highlight any text that you want to comment on. This little icon should pop up here, right here on the right. Click add comment. and then type in whatever you want to say, and then press comment.
We realize that this isn't necessarily enough time. It never is, but you can continue also after we are done with this. Even with this session, you can come back and kind of review and such. So don't feel rushed.
So highlighting any text means you're commenting on what they said right there, but you can also comment on or like add on to someone's comment that has already been highlighted right here. So see how Diana commented on this highlighted portion? I would also be able to comment with her by just clicking that highlight and adding any other comment.
I just want to point out we are down to our last 30 seconds, so please feel free to wrap up any last thoughts you may have, and we will continue forward. Alrighty, and that is time. So please find a good stopping place. And remember, you can always return to this even after the session is over.
Alrighty, so our next activity that we're going to be doing is we're going to do a Think Trio Share. And so for this activity, I believe we're going to be putting you all in some breakout rooms in trios. And so we're going to give you 4 minutes to reflect on the readings that you have done, and then 6 minutes to discuss with each other. And then we'll do a 5-minute share out with the whole group. So you have 10 minutes to reflect and to discuss with each other in small groups on the readings that you have done. And some guiding questions would be, what does assessment look like in your discipline? And we'll put these guiding questions in the chat box as well to help you. What brings you here is another question that you can bring up in discussion. And how have the readings deepened your understanding of ePortfolios and the different ways that we can use ePortfolios to engage students in their own learning process and to engage students in learning about our content and our discipline. So with that being said, Keelan is going to be putting us into small breakout rooms.
But I think we're going to go ahead and give you the time right now, right, to do your reflecting, and then we'll move you into the breakout rooms after that, right?
Perfect. Yes. So let's do 4 minutes right now of silent reflection, and then we'll go into the breakout rooms for the discussion part.
Because we know you're going to want to talk to each other when you get in the room. And as we always say with 3CSN, feel free to reflect in whatever way you want. So you could draw, you could free write, sing it out, whatever you like.
All right, and that is time. Please find a good stopping point and we will proceed forward.
Okay, and so we're going to be placing you in breakout rooms and trios in which you'll have 6 minutes to have a discussion on any of the questions that you see from the last slide. So there is a protocol, 2 minutes per person to share, no interrupting, and 4 minutes for crosstalk. So make sure that either yourself or someone in the group is being a timekeeper. And that way everybody has equitable time to share.
All right, I am opening the rooms. And as Joanna says, our celebrity guest, we're going to whisk you away.
See you in 6.
Welcome back, everyone. We know that that wasn't enough time. It never is, right? We just get started sharing with each other. It's a very, very huge, like I said, we could go down that rabbit hole for a long, long time, right? So we're just getting started right now with the discussion. We're excited. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Jared and Iris for their big moment. They spent a lot of time, and again, very, very modest individuals, but they spent a lot of time making these videos and such for your viewing support. All right, take it away.
Iris, would you like me to share the screen or?
Yes, please.
All righty, I can do that. No problemo. All righty. So welcome to our little ePortfolio platform how-to/review. We have 4 websites that we feel are very useful options to select from. So we will first start off with Wix, which Iris will go more into depth with.
Yeah, so Wix is more virtually interactive than the other ones we're going to show you. So this is really great. So first things first, probably don't go into this scared, because it will scare you a little bit, because it's got a lot of options and a lot of things to work out at first. But once you get the hang of it, it becomes really simple, and you become sort of like addicted to going back and editing and like making new changes, and just it begins to feel more like you, like your portfolio. It becomes personal. So to begin, you can choose a template, or you can make your own template, and it just all depends on you how much work you want to put into it, or how much, like, if you want to like limit the amount of work you do on it. Can you go to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, a feature for Wix is that you always have to save. If you do not save, you will lose your progress. And that is always really scary, and something you always should remember, because that is a downside of Wix. It doesn't save automatically. And we also have like a video prepared in the slides that we're going to share, or that are in the slides that we have shared. So this is going to help you. This is my tutorial going through Wix and showing you all the little kinks and buttons to work everything out, and to help you make your own Wix ePortfolio.
So we advise that you take the opportunity to go back to this presentation and watch these videos, because they're definitely very informative. And Iris will.
Yeah, some of the benefits are that it looks very organized, and it's very visually appealing. It can hold a lot of information, and it's easy to navigate once you've like gone through the tutorial and like played with all the buttons. And yeah, it involves a lot of creativity. You can choose your own color palette. You can choose your own like backgrounds. It's also got virtual backgrounds and interactive buttons, which is like when you hover over it, it just like changes. Some drawbacks would be that it's a little bit more advanced, and it probably takes a little longer to learn to navigate. And again, if you don't save your changes, they will disappear.
So I will next be talking about Google Sites. So Google Sites, I like to think of it as a little bit of a downgrade from Wix, but it's more of a user-friendly version where it's super easy to navigate. And if you're familiar with any other Google platform, such as Google Docs or Google Slides, this is going to be right up your alley. So right here on the second slide, I gave a little basic tutorial of how to use Google Sites. Again, it's very minimalistic, but it allows you to create it enough to make it your own space. So I go through a little bit of the taskbar as well, so you can go back and forth if you made errors or if you added something that you took away and you're like, wait a minute, nope, I want that back. You can click on the redo button as well. You can click here. This I like to call this presentation mode. This is what you saw me use earlier when showcasing the website, and this will allow you to see what the final project would look like. If you need any help or advice, the most amazing thing about Google Sites is that it is very collaborative, to where you can share it with a colleague's email and they can actually access your website and look over in the pre-stages and even help and give you suggestions. And then there's a video going over the additional settings that you can also choose to make your website a little more dynamic as well. And yeah, you can read about this later. So after publishing your website, don't forget to click the copyable link, and you can then share it with anybody. So luckily, everything automatically saves as long as you're connected to the internet, and that's what kind of gives it the advantage over Wix. So some benefits and drawbacks. So benefits is it's simple, easy to use, easy to connect to your Google Drive, and it's just overall great for beginners. The only drawbacks is there's limited creative control, and there's not a lot of accessibility between programs outside of Google. So if you want to grab stuff from your dock or your box, it might be a little bit more complicated to get in there. So I recommend this as not a professional use website, but rather a good beginning step for people. So the other option we have is ePortfolio. This is on Canvas. It's actually fairly simple. All you do is you log into your Canvas, you click on your account and collect the ePortfolios. From there, you just click on the Create ePortfolio button. And I gave a basic tutorial here, a very goofy one, but I think you guys will quite enjoy the content. The benefits and drawbacks, it's very easy to fully integrate grade access and other work for teachers and students. The main drawbacks is definitely creative limitations. It's very basic and the controls are a little awkward, and it lacks a lot of other features that Google and Wix. So I would say it isn't visually impressive, but it's convenient for the fact that you can easily add in assignments from your Canvas courses. But I definitely would recommend Google Sites or Wix over this one. Portfolio is a new one we just added, and this will be the last one we'll go over. I gave a little basic tutorial, and what's amazing about Portfolio is it's practically just like LinkedIn, where it gives you a lot of opportunities to share and kind of give your qualifications for like a job. It's very, it's great for linking, for finding work and linking your stuff to applications. So that's definitely the biggest highlight that Portfolio has to offer. You can, oh, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. You can also import work from plenty of websites also. You can actually import stuff from even Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well, which is very interesting. The only drawbacks is definitely creative limitations. You can't really decide where you want to put stuff. It kind of gives you this basic Facebook layout. So it isn't visually impressive, but it's definitely useful for linking with jobs, as I said earlier. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email us at this email address, and it will be shared with me and Iris, and we will try to respond to you within a reasonable time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you can also come to the community hours where Jared and Iris will be able to give you their perspective and also their expertise, because they are absolutely phenomenal, and to see the work that they did. And I know I didn't ask you to do this, but if you wouldn't mind, would you two mind sharing your ePortfolios just briefly before we move in? I think we have enough time, right? Jared,
yeah, we have 2 more minutes if
Okay.
if you
All
guys
right.
like.
Yes, because I mean, wow.
Iris, would you like to start us off? I actually have to find my link really fast.
Yeah, I also have, I think I have mine right here.
I think both of your links are inside of our Google site too. So you can find them there.
Okay, so this is my Wix ePortfolio that I made in Keelan's class while I was there. As you can see, it's a lot of visuals and a lot of interactive buttons. Right here, this is a slideshow. And I always found this so cute because I made this little video and I was able to just put it into the website. So I always think that's amazing. This is why I really like Wix. And then, yeah, like I said, everything is interactive. You can press any visual. And it's like, it is a little hard to navigate at first, but once you do it, you just can't stop.
And what I appreciated about it, the windows, right? That part where you put the different windows in and you were talking about identity, that it was connected to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the idea of windows because, well, each one of these writings and each one of these exercises was like a window into what I was thinking at the time. And I really wanted to build upon the idea of like that and growth too. So if you take a look at my exercises page, it starts off with buds and then the flowers just keep blooming. All right, and if Jared is ready, I will let him share his ePortfolio.
Most definitely. So we'll go a little bit like 1 minute over. I'll see if I can do an effective job within a minute. But I will now share with you my ePortfolio. So I went for more, I guess, like designer friendly. Filmmaking is kind of my thing, so I want to incorporate some photography. So primarily chiaroscuro, which actually ties into one of my favorite essay slash assignments that I've created and presented on this. So I like to think of this as my centerpiece. But the way I've designed this website is I wanted to reflect who I am, essentially. I wanted to show, the competition and overall kind of the way I think, essentially. So when looking at my ePortfolio, you're pretty much diving into my head almost, and that's what I really enjoy. So I showcase some of my favorite and most effective works, in my opinion, such as my punk rock essay, why it's art. And yes, punk rock is most definitely art. And of course, my centerpiece, chiaroscuro, the shadows of my past. But what I really enjoyed about this is it just, and there's our time, but it very much describes who I am as a person. I think that's one of the most important aspects that you can get from work, is that you're able to visually showcase your work, well, essentially who you are as a person through the work you've created. And it's actually helped me get a few, it's helped me kind of apply and actually obtain a few job offerings. So yeah, I think from personal experience that this does work for linking yourself out there as well.
All right, thank you so much. And the cool thing is that now that you've seen that, if you're interested in knowing more, you can spend some time with these two. So I'm going to go ahead and we wanted to try something. So it is going to maybe take an extra minute. How many of you have done the upgrade on Zoom? Okay. So if you've done the upgrade on Zoom, then you will be able to join a breakout room on your own. So that is lovely. If you haven't, that may be a problem. And so you can let me know and I'll go ahead and then put you into a room. And so we will be having, so thoughts comparing these website builders with WordPress. That's a good question. So we'll talk about that in just a minute, but we want to be able to get everybody into their room. So if you want to hang out, you can ask any of us about WordPress and then we'll be coming back together and we can ask some of these questions too if that they aren't answered in the rooms. Okay, so we're going to try this. This is our first time, so we're really excited to try out this new feature, which is to choose your own breakout room, like choosing your own adventure. And not only that, but you can room hop. So we will call it an ePortfolio crawl that you might do if you so choose. All right, so let me go ahead and open these up, and then you can decide where you want to go. All right, so you should be able to see the different rooms, and one of them is a quiet room. So if you just want to work quietly, you're welcome to do that and get started on things, or you can go into the other rooms as well. Okay.
If you don't see it, try clicking on the breakout rooms button on your on your main menu there at the bottom next to the chat. If you click on that little breakout rooms, then it should bring up the breakout rooms and you should be able to choose.
All right, so I was just showing everyone that we have my students, I had them put in Padlet their ePortfolios. So it's pretty amazing to start from the beginning of the semester with them, and it's my first time doing that. So it feels like a really, really good shift, something really good. So,
And that idea came from just doing this, right, Keelan?
I had wanted to do it for a long, long time, and thank the Lord, that SLCC's model gave me the language that I needed, the kind of the structure, because I've been wanting to do it for years. So it was really great to be able to do that, and this is the thing about the design lab, and thank you, Diana, because I mean, that's the thing about the design lab is that we're learning together. And it stretches us, and our student facilitators also, Iris and Jared, are learning and thinking about like, oh wait, what's this thing? So Jared, for instance, created his portfolio, so now he's able to use that as a second tool. So there are a lot of opportunities that we can think about and look at. All right, so
now
we're any. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you go ahead, Keelan. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in the last few minutes we have here together, we wanted just to, and we're going to put the link in the chat to get your feedback. What did you get from today? What do you still need? So we want to give you some time to reflect on that. It's called our GOTS and needs. And that way, so for the next session, we can address anything that there's still, of course, there's a lot of fuzziness right now because we're just getting started, but we definitely want to be responsive to your needs and your feedback. So this is one way we can offer you that, and you can offer that to us as we are in this learning community together. So we're going to put that in the chat room or in the chat box right now and give you a few minutes to reflect on that. And then after that, Jared is going to review the homework for us so that we're clear on what we need to do for next session, and then give you time to think about that as well. Keelan, can you put the GOTS and needs in the chat box?
Oh, definitely.
Thank you. And then you were going to say something, and I cut you off. So I apologize.
Oh, no, you're great. Let me just grab that. Actually, Iris probably has it closer than I do.
Okay.
But it's in our slides, so let me grab it from here. And it's it's in the slide as well, so you can see it there too if you all need to get it from there, but let me put it in directly. And that's why we love sharing, whatever we can with you, like the slides, things like that, so you have more agency. I know I love having the slides whenever I go to anything. I love getting the slides.
That's great. I see Deborah is saying she's excited. She's going to redo this in the spring with her classes. Definitely in the art world, Deborah, it's a great way, right, to showcase student artwork and be able to critique one another and have that that artist community online or remote environment.
Yes,
All right.
and there are so many options, right?
All right, so Iris graciously put the Got to Needs link in the chat box. We want to give you a few minutes right now to do that reflection. And so go ahead and click on that link.
And Yalam was asking.
And Kaylin, you said you were.
Hello?
Kaylin, you said you were going to mention something about WordPress.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, so in terms of WordPress, again, there are a lot of different platforms. So you can give the students as many options as you feel comfortable with or you want to. WordPress is also very user-friendly. There are a lot of, options there. So, again, WordPress is totally great and fine. It's just that we had to kind of narrow down. So other people have talked about like GoDaddy and some other websites. You can pretty much use, it's almost unlimited, right? Anything that creates a website, you could use for this. You could even have your students, like if you want to do something that's like a little simpler, you could use Padlet as a ePortfolio. There are a lot of different ways to do it. But the ones that I think students like overall are most familiar with or will find, and it depends, but many students find that the Google Sites is a nice middle ground. It's kind of like that, I have I'm learning right now how to do video editing. Thankfully, thanks to Jared, I'm taking off the training wheels and I've moved to I've now moved to Adobe Rush from Adobe Spark. So someday I will get up to the pro version, but I feel like it's kind of like that with the Google tools. It's like you get to that, it's kind of a nice middle ground between the two. But I think that Iris and Jared, if you want to speak quickly, if you can, to how perhaps, how you feel about having agency and choosing.
I definitely think that being able to choose your website, given the amount of options, kind of gives you the sense that I guess the best way is like it feels like almost that you're not forced to go down one route, that you're given these multiple routes that you can explore for yourself. And I think that's what what gave me personally the commitment to making the portfolio and why I constantly come back to it. I really enjoy Wix because of its creative ability, or I guess process, like all the options that you can. And although it seems like overwhelming at first, I took the bull by the horns and I went for it, and I really enjoy it in the end. So I definitely think that even though you might be intimidated by a website, still give that option to your students because they're gonna most likely love exploring that route. And I think Iris would agree with that statement as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like just giving the option allows your students to be able to just have a lot of freedom in what goes in and just what they do, because we know that usually it's like a one-sided thing with students. So the fact that they get to choose finally what they do is great, and it feels like free. I love Wix because I chose Wix. We were choosing between Weebly and Wix, and I chose Wix because I don't honestly know why. It probably looked prettier at the time, and I wanted to just take on the challenge, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be. There was a lot of just my mind was scared and I didn't want to start it. There was a lot of procrastination involved, but once they start, they can go anywhere. There's so many ideas that I didn't think I would see in either Wix or Google Sites. People can do a lot of different things on each one of those outlets, and you just have to let them choose.
Thank you so much. And I do want to say one thing, which is, in case, some of you might be feeling intimidated by it. I really honestly did not want to know more than my students did. I felt like if I knew more, then I would want to control the situation in terms of like, let me just get in there, like look at it, right? And so I thought that it was really important for them to lead. And so I was very open with them and I said, I haven't done it this way before. I used Weebly before. I use Wix a little bit with my students. Like, I mean, this was like 2012. I mean, it's improved a lot. It's changed, and I'm still learning. And so I really appreciated learning alongside them. There is a feeling of nervousness that comes when you let go of some of that control, but it is beautiful when you're able to do that because the students respond to it. I mean, they are able to become the experts. They are, they're very good at it. And then they teach me things, which is incredible. And then we learn together. And so it was amazing to sit next to Iris and Jared at a long table when we used to be able to be in rooms together, right? And we sat at a long table together, and Iris was like, and I was like, well, what do you think about, adding this? And she's like, yeah. And she got all excited and she was putting things in. And Jared, thinking about his, I was, just thinking about his paper and such. And so, but anyway, we have all the links. We will be emailing you as well, but we wanted to just kind of review quickly, Jared, if you want to go over the homework. And this is, we have a motto, which Trang and Carrie both know. So we have a motto, which is no shame, no blame, no guilt. Okay, so you do as much as you can. We know that you all are in very intense times. We are humbled and unbelievably grateful that you have made the choice to be here. And we hope that you will find, the inspiration to keep going with us, knowing that we're here by your side, that we will be here every Wednesday for that hour, that we're available by email all the time. Any questions that you have, all the materials are yours. Whatever you like, you have it, at your hands, at your disposal. So without further ado, I'm gonna let Jared show you stuff. I'm gonna stop talking.
Thank you. So let's start off with going to the home through the navigation. So once when you're on home, I feel the easiest way is to scroll down just a little bit and you'll find each of the links for each session. So we're gonna go to session 1.
And we actually added those at the advice of our participants from our last design lab. They were like, we would really like buttons.
Yes, buttons are amazing. Add buttons into your ePortfolio. So here's the homework for session 2 that you will complete by before next session. Remember, if you can't complete it all, that's okay. It's all about the learning experience in the end. So the first link is you have access to that Google slide show we showed you. So you'll have a chance to go through each of the tutorial videos. And also you can review the portfolio tutorial option as number 2. We then advise that you watch great student ePortfolios from Salt Lake City Community College. These are pretty much great ePortfolio examples that you can look at. And also, you can check out me, Iris, and Aaron's portfolios from this link right here. So if you liked what you saw and you wanted some inspiration, feel free to come back to step number 4 and click on one of our links and take a look at it. Step number 5 is we want you guys to read chapter 6 of Hammond's Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain. So just like this week, we want you to select a golden line and post it on that shared Google Doc along with a reflection. And we want you to at least annotate at least one other person's post as well, talking about how you either resonate with it or how interesting you think it is. Step number 6 is we want you to complete a portfolio element number 1. So we want you to add it to our community Padlet. And we give you some, additional points to kind of take into consideration when writing as well. So don't feel intimidated by all this. It's all optional. The points to add. And then we want you to reflect on the process of designing this prep work. So please be prepared to share, and here are some of the guiding questions as well. So again, this looks like a lot, don't feel intimidated. And that is all the homework for this week.
And 1 minute to spare, Jared.
All right, so does anyone have any questions? All right, so remember that inside of, Jared, did you want to put the link to the website again one more time? You just click on that button and that will take you to community hours for Wednesday. So if you want to join us, we would love to work with you all to help you with this. All right, Amber, I love the word skedaddle.
Bye, Amber. Thank
Totally
you.
worth it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
And thank you, everyone, for being here with us today. Have a wonderful
Thank
weekend.
you. Thank you. And we'll stick around for just a minute in case anybody has a last question. We'll turn off the recording. So thank you, thank you, thank you.